Is the Minnesota Vikings master plan finally coming together? We'll talk about it on today's show. What's going on, everybody? My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. And this guy, 3 years ago when he got the GM job from the Minnesota Vikings, I think he had a master plan in mind, and I think it is finally all coming together this year of getting that rookie quarterback and building that stacked roster around him. Before we start, let's just show some love for the men in the purple and gold and women on the Vikings coaching staff as well. But if you guys love the Minnesota Vikings, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. I'm going to put today's goal as over 750 likes. So if you guys go down there, see we're not at 750 likes, if you guys could help me out, hit that thumbs up icon if you love yourself some Minnesota Vikings football. So what was the Kwesi Adofo-Mensah master plan? This will kind of formulate today's show. But I do truly believe his plan was to get a QB on a rookie deal and build a stacked roster around him. And I think the Vikings, after this offseason, they have done just that. But let's also go back in time and look at some of the former rookie contract Super Bowl winners. And there's actually not as much as you would think. It is Patrick Mahomes when he won his first Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, and it is Russell Wilson when he won his first Super Bowl and only Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks. And a lot of the talk, I honestly think it's overblown a little bit where it's like, oh, you need to get a QB on a rookie deal. And listen, I think it is the biggest advantage you can have when building a roster, but I think it's overblown just the success that a lot of these rookie quarterbacks have is the only two that have done it. Russell Wilson played with one of the best defenses of all time, and Patrick Mahomes is, the second best quarterback of all time. So it's definitely hard to do, but I do think the master plan is coming together, and the first part of that was just to build a stacked effing roster. And Colin Cowherd, earlier on last week, suggested that the Vikings have the worst roster in the NFC North. That's laughable to me. It is a criminal take to have. It is an idiotic take because we can just fly through how this roster is looking. Offensive line, I think it's top 5 in the National Football League because you're adding 3, perennial all-pro caliber players. Christian Darrisaw, he's an all-pro. He's a top 3 left tackle in the league. I'm not debating that with anybody. Ryan Kelly, he's a Pro Bowl center. Will Fries, question mark there, but, the guys that really dive into the offensive line tape more than I do, I mean, they love Willie Fries. And plus, I like the continuity that Kelly and Fries already have together since they played in Indianapolis. So the offensive line, check mark that box. Then what about the defensive line? I mean, this hellfire third down package that the Vikings can be able to run is going to be one of the best in the National Football League. I think this is top 3. Greenard, Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, Van Ginkel, Dallas Turner. I mean, imagine if you see these 5 guys lined up on a 3rd and 8 situation in U.S. Bank Stadium. I mean, good freaking luck. Just even, protecting, even just setting the protections will be hard in terms of guarding this defensive line. And then also kick it back to the offensive side. The weapons are ridiculous. Look, we already know Justin Jefferson, best in the league. Jordan Addison, one of the best wide receiver 2s in the league. And then I love the 1-2 punch you now have with Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason being that bruising, physical running back. And then you still got TJ Hawkinson, who, in my opinion, I think Hawk might have a bounce back year. He's coming off that torn ACL, but you got good enough weapons. I mean, you got great weapons to go win a Super Bowl. And then, the secondary, probably the weakest position on the Vikings, but you still got a blue chipper, in my opinion, in Byron Murphy, who's hitting the prime of his NFL career. Isaiah Rodgers, solid cornerback. Mekhi Blackman. Now, we're going to really be keeping our eyes on Blackman if he can take that next step up. But also Harrison Smith and Josh Metellus. I love that safety rotation with Theo Jackson, and I'm not even including the linebackers, Blake Cashman, Ivan Pace. They're both studs as well. And listen, I have said this for a while. Not only for a rookie quarterback, but just quarterbacks in the whole NFL. I think the Vikings have the best support system for any QB in the NFL. If you had to pick one place to go if I was a quarterback, it would be the frickin' Minnesota Vikings because you got the QB whisperer in Kevin O'Connell. You got the left tackle. You got the right tackle. You got 2 good weapons. You got the franchise tight end. You got 2 good running backs. You could really just have everything you would want at that offensively for a quarterback. So not only just the best support system for a rookie quarterback, but I think any quarterback in the NFL. And then also number 2 here, you had to build an elite coaching staff. And did Kwesi luck out getting Kevin O'Connell, yeah, 100%. But he also deserves credit for that hiring. And then you also got Brian Flores. Like, if you just had to take a combination of one of the best offensive minds in the league, of one of the best defensive minds in the league, there is only probably one other team I'd rather have, and that's probably the Kansas City Chiefs with Spags and Andy Reid. But these two are two of the best in the game at what they do, and this is why it makes me just so irritated. And I shouldn't get irritated because it doesn't matter about what other people say about this football team. But when people talk about the Vikings being a regression team, I would get that if maybe they lost Flores, if, maybe they lost more of their free agents and they didn't make a lot of moves, but you still got the same coaching staff that led a B- roster to 14 wins, and now it's an A roster. I mean, come on, guys. The coaching staff is one of the best in the league. And then number 3 here, how about the kid from Chicago, Illinois? How about the franchise? J.J. McCarthy, number 9 here. I think he is going to take the keys of this franchise, turn on that freaking Ferrari, and put that thing in the third gear, and we will have a awesome offense this season. And also, why are the Vikings able to build such a stacked roster around this guy? Because starting next season and for the next 2 following, we might have one of the best contracts in the NFL. JJ, the year here is cap hits over the next 3 years, 4.9, 5.9, and 6.9. You may be asking yourself, well, why JJ McCarthy? Why are you such a believer in him? We already talked about the rookie contract, but also the intangibles of the quarterback position. Like, who is he in the locker room? Like, Will Fries talked about it today. A big reason why I came here is because he wanted to play with JJ. He sees his swagger. He sees his aura. It is off the charts, and he's also a playmaker. I don't think people give JJ enough credit because they just see the Penn State game. Oh, he didn't throw the ball once in the second half. They see the national championship. Oh, he barely had to throw the football. I get that. But as a playmaker, out of structure on these 3rd and longs, he has been awesome. And he's also just got an elite arm, man. Touch every blade of grass on the football field. And we saw, a big concern coming out of college for me with JJ was, hey, can he make the touch throws? Can he layer the football? First preseason game, that's all he was doing. He was layering it all over the football field. And I know QB wins is not the end-all, be-all when evaluating quarterback. The guy has lost 4 games of football since his freshman year of high school. That's unreal stuff. That is a J.J. McCarthy stat. So for all those reasons, I'm a believer in J.J., but where do you fall? Do you believe in J.J. McCarthy? You guys let me know. Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. I'll make this the pinned comment on today's show. So if YouTube throws an ad break your way, sit back, let it play, and let me know your thoughts on the new franchise quarterback. Feels so good to say that. J.J. McCarthy. Y for yes, N for no. Now we'll get to 2 more reasons on why the master plan is coming together here for GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah in a second. But first, got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is PrizePicks. Now, if you guys download the PrizePicks app today and plug in that promo code CLNS, you guys will get $50 instantly after you put your first $5 lineup. Download the PrizePicks app today. Plug in promo code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, what is PrizePicks? PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Now, with the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're entering the peak of their season. And if you guys want to make those games a whole lot more interesting, I'll tell you what, creating a PrizePicks lineup is a great way to do so. I have been feasting off the Julius Randle points, rebounds, and assists as of late. And if you guys want to take advantage, PrizePicks, number 1 way to do so. So download the PrizePicks app today. Plug in that promo code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the PrizePicks app today. Plug in that promo code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. I got that link for you guys in the comment section and description of today's show. But massive shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's edition of Vikings Now by Chat Sports. PrizePicks. Run your game. Excuse me, fellas. Reason number 4. Excuse me. Something logged in my throat right there. Reason number 4 why the master plan's coming together is because for the first 3 years under Kevin O'Connell, you were able to instill one of the best cultures in the National Football League. And I thought it was so cool hearing these guys, like all these new free agents, like the Hargraves, the Allens, Will Fries, all these guys like truly talk about the Vikings organization, and all of them were just saying, oh, I've heard from guys around the league. I've heard from yada, yada, yada that, like, this is the best place to play in the National Football League. And I think the culture is the backbone of the Kevin O'Connell Minnesota Vikings. Like, this was after the 2022 season when the Vikings clinched the NFC North. Kevin O'Connell was jumping up like he's flexing, like he's a 6'5", like physically imposing dude. And like his locker room speeches, I remember I was saying this during the year, but they started going viral after every single game. And, obviously the guys are motivated to just go play well for their teammates and, for themselves. These are some of the best competitors in the national football, or in the world, frankly. And I could see them just a little bit in the back of their mind be like, man, I hope KOC gives me a game ball after the game. I hope he gives me a shout out in front of the whole team. And, what the Vikings culture did for a guy like Sam Darnold, embracing him, like, I can't wait to see what it does for a guy like J.J. McCarthy. And, if you're going to have a Super Bowl team, if you're going to go win it all, you also need blue chip players. Like, you need some of the best in the league at some of the most important positions in the National Football League. And I think the Vikings, even though the roster is, I don't think it's like a, just flooded with blue chip guys, but I think you have 5 guys, in my opinion, who truly are blue chip players. And obviously Justin Jefferson being number 1 on that list, best player on the Minnesota Vikings, but also a guy like Greenard, like his step that he's taken this past season. He's a blue chipper at that edge rusher position. You also got one of the best left tackles. Shout out to Christian Darrisaw. And I think Byron Murphy, maybe not right now, you guys will agree with me, he's a blue chip player, but after another year of Brian Flores coaching him up, I think Murphy's going to take that next step. Then I got to give some love to the guy out of Minnesota. This Vikings defense, with and without Blake Cashman, it is like night and day. He is that elite communicator. He is perfect with what Brian Flores likes to do. I think he is one of the most underrated, not just linebackers, but one of the most underrated and underappreciated linebackers, or just players in the National Football League. So the Cashman, shout out to you, my man. And also this, not a hot take here, and maybe I just want to say this because I see the odds of the Vikings have the worst odds. Everybody's going to predict the Vikings to finish last in the division. This is not a hot take. The Vikings will win the NFC North next season. I fully believe it. I think they got the best roster. I think they got the best coaching staff, and it all comes down to the quarterback. But you guys know I'm a believer in the quarterback. I think he's going to hit the ground running next season. So, hey, if you guys made it to the end of today's show, hit me with a skull down below in the comments section. Make it look like US Bank Stadium on game day. I cannot wait for that first skull chant. Hopefully the Vikings get a home game week 1. And it's J.J. McCarthy taking the field, and it's just skulls raining down, man. I cannot wait. So if you guys made it to the end, hit me up with a skull down below. And also, I am on Twitter, @PatSeeps is the handle. Give me a follow over there, and I'll give you guys a follow right on back. We'll see you guys next time. As always, Skull Vikes.